Hey guys, this is Tara Macklin, hopping in here to talk to you today about a post that I've seen recently on social media. As the time of this video, it's getting closer to PCOS Awareness Month, so that's in September. And this post will probably be something that you may come across, especially if you're a PCOS woman. So I'm going to read this out loud and I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on that. And let me know in the comments below, do you agree with this? Do you think this is, great? Or do you have concerns about it? Which I think this is great. I'm going to put this out there in the sense of getting the awareness out there. But there's just some terms that I kind of struggle with a little bit, and I'll let you guys know what that is. So the post says, polycystic ovarian syndrome, an incurable hormonal disorder that causes enlarged ovaries and ovarian cysts, resulting in infertility, type 2 diabetes, facial hair, a lot of pain, heavy and or irregular periods, anxiety and depression, obesity, and more. I'm asking if everyone could put this on their status for 1 hour. I am sure I know the ones who will. Think of someone you know or love who has PCOS. My hope is that in the near future, a cure will be found. Will you post this for 1 hour in honor of those who have fought or are fighting PCOS? And then adds a bunch of hashtags. So my first initial thought is, I did a video earlier, if you go and then back and look at the channel, about the myth of cysts. And being in the title, it's definitely leads people to believe that you must have multiple cysts on your ovaries to have this condition, right? But we've talked about how cysts are actually pretty common. That's where our eggs are. They rupture and they let the egg out, and then the egg seeks to get fertilized in theory. So as long as you're doing the activities or the medical procedures to create that possibility. So I tend to kind of look at that and go, well, maybe that's some women. There are some women that have the enlarged cysts and they're rather painful, and there's multiples of them that are larger. That is a thing. But please know that ovarian cysts are actually quite normal and not a diagnosis factor for this condition. But the thing that struck me in here was the word cure. I don't feel like when you look at conditions like PCOS, I kind of compare it to sickle cell. And some of you guys are not medical, so you're probably like, great, she's going to dig into something medical. Just bear with me so I can kind of build the analogy for you. So when a person has sickle cell anemia, this was actually a condition that was meant to serve people. It helps protect them from malaria if you live in the right environment. If you have sickle cell anemia and you live in the mountains, it's going to feel like it's actually not serving you. In fact, it's going to be a hindrance. Granted, people aren't worried about malaria when they're living up in the mountains usually. That's not a common disease found in the mountains. And it's going to make it harder for these people to breathe and just kind of live in an altitude environment. So that's where I'm kind of going with this. So PCOS was a condition that once upon a time, women would get this, and they would be able to store up food when food was viable and full of energy, and the body would store it away really well. And then when it would hit points of famine, your body had a great energy source that it saved on itself. And of course, the woman would lean out because she's not eating. So she's fasting, as we talk about. Intermittent fasting is now like a popular thing these days. But what the big problem is that the way society is for the vast majority of us, not everyone, food doesn't go away. It's always available, right? So you can go to the grocery store and still find produce in the produce section. It's not like it has a season anymore because we can bring things in from other countries that can grow things year round, and we've made changes to our foods to make them more available for the long term. Just the way that the industrialization of our food and our food sources has actually created for us to have food anytime, anywhere, on demand. Like, our bodies were actually not designed to have food that way. We were meant to build up a resource of food and energy, and to go into this period of famine. Now, here's what I'm not telling you to do. I'm not telling you to stop eating in the winter months, but just know that it was actually more common for women a long time ago from now to hit periods where they just weren't eating. And so our bodies wouldn't cycle because that creates more energy. So that was an energy reserve. So again, like sickle cell anemia, when you're not in the environment upon which the condition was meant to serve you, it's going to be very disordered, right? So, and it becomes a syndrome, or with sickle cell, we talk about an anemia, and it becomes more of a problem than it is a server to our bodies. So I kind of feel like, honestly, it's not that it needs a cure. What it needs is for people to understand that the lifestyle that we are currently living doesn't serve the condition that was meant to serve us. So by making adjustments to our lifestyle, and I'm not in the business of trying to create people's like an eating disorder, trust me, that's not my goal here, but maybe putting more forethought in creating mindful eating in the way that we eat. Like, desserts are on demand. Look back at the 1950s and no one was eating desserts every day. And sugar plays a big role for about 70% of all PCOS women, right? Because we're insulin resistant. That's the stats going these days. So just do some digging, do some research. Every woman's PCOS is different. And in fact, one thing about this post is women with lean PCOS don't have some of those symptoms in that post. So there are many types of PCOS. You can have a pill-derived PCOS, which is short-term and not a true PCOS. There's different other drivers. So just be aware of your PCOS type. If you don't know, try to get with your doctor. And again, I know some doctors don't actually know the answer to that. It's in your lab work. Get familiar with that. And if you're not familiar with that, I do have a group where I will be educating on that. And if you're seeing this later, it's probably already in a unit section to educate you on getting more familiar with what that lab work looks like. Because sometimes the doctors just, the way our healthcare system is today, they honestly probably just don't have time to go over all the details with you. So allow me the opportunity to help serve you in that way. And if you guys have any other questions about this, let me know below. Definitely give me your feedback. What do you think? Maybe it needs a cure in your opinion, and that's fine. Please share that with me below. But in my opinion, I feel like it just needs to be more of an education of lifestyle changes to help use this condition to serve our bodies rather than to be the enemy against it. So, but we all have opinions on it. So let me know what yours are below, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.